I think being a music educator was a big bonus for me. I think I come at the world much like I did in college. I specialized in jazz improvisation on saxophone, and so it was about improvisation and creativity, and I think that has helped me stay outside of the box as we face challenges and find solutions. I'm the first to say that what we do isn't really innovative. What we do is tried and true, and we're standing on the shoulders of others, and we work really hard. But I think our creative problem solving along the way that we can attribute directly to our ability to be, good improvisers. And I take that back to the whole music side and creative thinking. And I think you have to be, especially in the inner city, the demands on you are very different than maybe a rural or suburban area. So we need to be very responsive to our community and to our family and to our school culture. And that takes a pretty high bar in terms of creativity. I believe kids need consequences. I think that's an important narrative for us, that if we create an unstructured environment for our kids, we can't have learning. And so our focus as a school is that we want to protect the academic environment like no other. What goes on in that classroom is sacred to us. And so the teacher needs to be able to teach. So we need multiple steps for working with kids who really struggle in that environment, to find ways for them to succeed and find ways for them to get back engaged in the classroom. But we do believe that if you do something wrong, there should be a consequence. And so we're not scared to pull the child out of the classroom and engage them in alternatives to suspension, to suspensions when needed, to get them back into that academic environment and understanding that this is how it goes and this is how you can be successful. Anything that doesn't involve being sent home. The last thing we want for our kids who are struggling to be successful in the classroom is to just be kicked out. I think that's probably one of the hardest things to do to a child who's struggling. The child who's struggling is in need of help. Identifying where that help is the problem. And so for us, we've created a system of recovery where if you're not succeeding in the classroom, the first step is that you're going to go meet with a counselor. You're going to unpack your emotions, your stress, and then you're going to have one-on-one instruction with a licensed teacher until you're ready to go back into the room. And we keep that model going in two different tiers. We've got we know we can get you back there, tier 2 situation, or we know it's so stressful in there, we don't want to put you back there today, but we're going to work together and work academically on grade level for the rest of the day. That would be our tier 3 scenario. So we've really got multiple tiers before you hit a point where we say, you know what, you need to go home. We want that to be the last resort. So for us, those are the alternatives to say the classroom's sacred, and when you're in there right now, they're having a hard time learning, so let's pull you out. And your response for wanting to be out of that environment is that you're going to work harder, but it's going to be one-on-one, less confrontational. You don't have to show out in front of your peers, but we're going to get work done. I developed a close bond with a parent who really struggled with her daughter and struggled with her home life and just struggled in general. And she always bragged that she had once been on America's Most Wanted on TV and troubled past, but salt of the earth kind of person who just told you straight up how it was. And her daughter wasn't performing well in school, and it was one of the many times we'd called her down to come and be with us to speak with her daughter and be a part of that process, see if we could get her turned around for the day. And her daughter excused herself to use the bathroom, and Mom followed her in there. And before we knew it, the horrifying thing, we realized Mom's spanking her daughter in the bathroom. And so very politely knock on the door and ask Mom to come out and say, we can't do that here. You know, what you do with your child at home, that's your prerogative, but we can't allow that kind of thing to go on in a school. And she apologized profusely. And on her way out the door, she pulled out her little spoon that she used to spank her child with a little sly grin, and walked out. And that was her way of saying, you know, hey, I'm the mom here. I know you get it. I know I can't do this here. It's the way it goes. My mom spanked me with a wooden spoon, so that one kind of made me feel like, hey, life has just come full circle in one of the weirdest possible ways ever. My parents came to visit the school weeks later, and this parent went out, bought them a dozen donuts, and came in and said, I love what your son's doing for my daughter, and dropped them off to them. And my parents, coming from Wyoming, not used to the inner city climate or culture, it's just, you know, how raw and real people can be, and how salt of the earth nice they can be at the same time. Those are eye-opening